Bleach, the Thousand-Year Blood War plunges Ichigo Kurosaki into chaos as the Wandenreich, a hidden Quincy empire led by the fearsome Yhwach, declares war on Soul Society. The Quincy Sternritter launches a devastating attack, wielding powers that strip Soul Reapers of their bankais, leaving them defenseless. In a heroic but tragic stand, Captain Yamamoto is overpowered by Yhwach, leaving Soul Society in ruins and leaderless. Witnessing the destruction and his friends wounded, Ichigo realizes he must push beyond his limits to face the Quincy. As Part 2 ended on the edge, it foreshadowed an epic showdown yet to come in Part 3 of Bleach, Thousand-Year Blood War. Episode 1 starts off with Uetsu and the rest of Squad Zero except for Senjumaru taking their own lives before he mutters the words. Suddenly, an immense wave of powerful aura erupts from where they are, blinding the Quincy with its brilliance. Senjumaru tells the Quincy warriors to prepare themselves as she activates her bankai. Boosted by her new power, she got thanks to the Blood Seal oath breaking after the rest of the squad took their lives. Her bankai, Shatatsu Karagara Shigarami, a beautiful intricate tapestry-like domain, places immense spiritual pressure on its surroundings, which even reaches Ichigo and the others down below the Soul King's palace. Ichigo tells everyone about Squad Zero's extraordinary abilities, which leads to them believing they could perhaps actually manage to defeat the Quincy and Yhwach. Ichigo hopes so as well, although the expression he wears on his face is of deep concern. Senjumaru traps each of the Quincy warriors, one after the other, in her elaborate weaves. In complete control of the time and space around her domain, she utters phrases that emphasize the elegance and destructive power of the bankai of the Soul King's royal guard, Shitara Senjumaru. Meanwhile, as Yhwach starts walking away from the leader of the royal guard, Hyosube Ichibe, thinking he had defeated him. The flames on Ichibe go out as he announces the name of his power, Black, that allows him to take away the powers and identity of anyone painted by his brush. Demonstrating his powers on Yhwach, Ichibe takes away his name and identity, taking his powers as a result too. This is the bankai of the leader of the royal guards, Hyosube Ichibe, who then uses his sword brush to give Yhwach his new identity and name, Black Ant, rendering the great power of Yhwach to that of a lowly ant. I couldn't imagine it. The words Yhwach mutter before Ichibe stomps him with his giant leg and crushes him between his massive hands, sending the ruler of the Quincy flying away, finally defeated, it seemed. Falling, Yhwach completes his sentence from earlier. I couldn't imagine I could see so much with my eyes closed, as two pupils appear in his eyes, and he transports directly back to Ichibe, striking him with his sword. Ichibe asks him how he was still alive, as the characters he wrote on him begin to dissipate. Ichibe looks on in shock as Jugram, the right-hand man of Yhwach, explains that Yhwach had been fighting with his eyes closed thus far to keep his power from going berserk. But now that 9 years had elapsed on it, he could finally open them again, regaining his true power, which lends him the ability to see and know everything prior to it happening, making any ability he sees with his eyes practically useless against him. This awakening of Yhwach somehow released Ishida from his trap as well. However, Senjumaru appears to have no problem toying around with him as he tries desperately to evade her attacks. Announcing she will put an end to their kind who had been forsaken by the king and had outlived their time, Senjumaru releases a final onslaught on Ishida, capturing him in her weaves once more. Senjumaru takes out a needle. Right before she stabs the back of his neck to take him out once and for all, Ishida tells her he had a reason for fighting. For doing all this, Yhwach asks Ichibe that he must be wondering why he's still alive, how his powers peeled away from him and why he is going to lose, and that he must want to know the answer. Yhwach's insinuation that he will defeat Ichibe amuses him as he tells the Quincy Lord that, although he knew everything, he seems to have forgotten that all black belonged to him as he plunges the ethereal tower with ink. The whole atmosphere then goes black and white. Yhwach gets trapped in the ink at his feet as Ichibe starts chanting a song. The song lyrics and rhythm evoke themes of rebirth, emphasizing the stake of this battle against Yhwach, who intended to overthrow the Soul King, and therefore how Ichibe must make sure to stop Yhwach once and for all before he could manage that. Once his song ends, Ichibe erects a sea of skulls and graves at his feet, activating Futen Tisatsu Ryo, built from 100 knights stolen from the Soul Society 100 years in the future, that turns the victims' bones, blood, and flesh black, returning them to darkness where even rebirth was not possible. But as Ichibe says the phrase that activates the ability, Yhwach stuns Ichibe by saying it at the same time as him, testifying to his ability that could see everything beforehand. Invulnerable to anything and everything his eyes could see, Yhwach asks Ichibe, did he still think of him as one without a name? Ichibe leaps towards Yhwach, holding out his sword with the intention of impaling him, at which point Yhwach proudly declares his name is Yhwach, the one who will rob him of everything, as he holds out his hand and pops Ichigo like he was a bearded plum. On the other hand, Ishida starts overflowing with power due to his bond with Yhwach, as Senjumaru wonders if that was the true power of a stern Ritter, the elite warriors of the Wandenreich led by Yhwach. Senjumaru chuckles at this little display from Ishida, if he thought he would be able to escape from her Bankai with it. But Ishida reveals that it was Senjumaru herself who had been caught in her own Bankai, as she finds herself wrapped in her own weaves. Ishida then draws his arrow, and swearing upon his honor as a Quincy, fires straight through the center of Senjumaru's chest, killing her in the process. This releases her Bankai, which Ichigo and the others sense as well. The Stern Ritter regain their freedom from Senjumaru's Bankai and are united with Yhwach in the next instant at the ethereal platform. Jugrom declares their 1,000 years of prayer were about to be answered at last, as Yhwach walks through his kneeling loyal men, setting his sights on his next target. The Soul King. Using material from the ethereal towers, Yhwach manifests a bridge to the Soul King's palace as he contemplates the end of their 1,000-year-long crusade with the demise of the Soul King. Ichigo and the others finally arrive at the Soul King's palace, wondering if the battle had already been over. They are horrified to see the remains of the Royal Guard's leader, Hyosube Ichibe. But Ichigo then starts hearing Ichibe's voice in his head, asking him to call out his name. Ichigo does so, and suddenly a fresh new Ichibe pops up from his own remains, terrifying everyone. Ichibe explains that thanks to their powers being combined, he was able to restore himself by taking a small fraction of Ichigo's power when he called his name out loud. Ichibe then starts laughing like a deranged old man, while Ichigo wonders about how messed up what he just did was. Ichibe tells Ichigo that he must stop Yhwach before he kills the Soul King and disrupts the balance of the three worlds, leading to their collapse and disappearance. Ichigo responds with a reassuring nod, and they head for the Soul King's tower. However, Yhwach has already reached the Soul King by that time and puts his sword through him. Bidding farewell to him, Yhwach reveals himself to be the son of the Soul King, ending the episode with a major reveal. Stay connected, like and subscribe for more fun recaps on One and Only Endless Recaps.